We are back with your favorite program, The League of the Genuine Conversations, hosted by me, Fred Muwema. Every Friday, we discuss the subject of counterfeits, and we are continuing our programming on this subject with my friend, Honorable Henry Banyenzaki. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you, comrade.
Honorable, it is, I think, 6 years now since you left active politics as a former Minister of Economic Monitoring in the office of the President. But you still look good, you still wear sharp suits. How have you managed to transit from public office to private life without changing your demeanor? Some politicians will not even afford a suit after they have left office. What's the trick?
Well, I think mine has been all along from the beginning. I've been in this public sector life, actually even up to now, because I'm still serving the office of the President as a director in Operation Wealth Creation.
Wealth creation, yes.
Which is basically an agency that oversees and that has a mandate of an oversight on all MDAs, ministries, departments, and agencies. We cut across, and I'm in charge of monitoring and evaluation of the government programs and projects. But basically, my life has been it has been a mix of public-private life.
But we know you more on the public side of things.
Because that's where I'm vocal.
And in private, you're quiet.
In the private sector, you make money quietly. Have you ever heard in a businessman making, drumming that I'm making money? So basically, my life is...
I think there's a local saying that when you're making money, you don't... when you're eating, you
money
don't...
talks.
When you're eating, you don't make noise.
Now you can see,
Well, we are talking about...
You don't ask.
we are talking about counterfeits, so
Yes.
naturally that involves money.
Yes.
But to take you back a bit on what you are doing now, Director Operation Wealth Creation, and you say you spread across all government ministries. You're creating wealth for the government or for the people?
We create wealth for people.
How?
For the people. We do... Actually, when we do that oversight, we do, at the end of the day, we are an advisory body to the President and to the ministries, but mainly, since we're in the office of the President, to the executive branch of government. And
so how do you give me wealth? The one I
wealth, of course, we see what affects you. We do the bottlenecks. We look into the sector, into the economy, look at the bottlenecks, and we unblock
the bottlenecks.
The bottlenecks, so that there is creation of wealth, which is equitably distributed, and there is prosperity amongst
for all.
Nature. Because the biggest problem we have in this country is that we have a bigger percentage which is which are living on subsistence economy.
$1 a day.
We want a commercial economy for all.
On this program, we know that one of the big economic bottlenecks is counterfeits. How is Operation Wealth Creation dealing with this issue of counterfeits as you try to bring citizens up?
I think a good phrase it better is to say, how is government dealing with it? And I think that the issue of counterfeit, the government, in my opinion, the players within the government do not understand the issue of counterfeit very well. Because when you have this conversation within the government, for example, the body that regulates the standards in this country is the Uganda National Bureau of Standards.
Yes.
For them, they will tell you, for us, we look at the minimum standards. What is being imported, does it meet the minimum standards? So if you are going to look at the minimum standards, which means that they are allowing in counterfeits to flood the market. And when they are allowing these counterfeit products to flood the markets and they are looking at the minimum standards, you are going even to have these counterfeit producers freezing the wananchi in the name of those brands, because the brand names are very expensive. They bring in drugs branded as original when they are counterfeits. They get a lot of money. They bring in clothes branded as those high brands, sell them expensively. They freeze the wananchi. And of course, everything, this one cuts across. But we have been hit most as a country into counterfeit of, say, drugs, especially in both human and animals, and even in plants. Once you have these counterfeit products in
the
animals,
pesticides, the herbicides.
yes, then you are going to have these pesticide, herbicides. You apply them, but they are not effective. We have been hit very hard in the livestock sector, whereby we are having cows dying because of wrong drugs.
Acaricides.
Acaricides, yes, right. So, and at the end of the day, if you are going to have these counterfeit products, even in crop, you are going to have your products.
There was a headline, you saw New Vision.
They are going to be blacklisted in these markets.
In Kenya and so on. There was that headline in
Kenya is not a big deal, but EC is the one which is very
European
Union and the American market. Those are sensitive. The moment you are going to use those fake drugs, and they have those, if the effect is that your product is going to be blacklisted. So if you lose that market, because we are dealing mainly in agricultural products, even in these livestock products and dairy products, the moment you are having those kind of diseases that are transmitted to human beings, then you are not going to reduce the market. So that is revenue loss.
But Honorable, you're saying that people in government don't understand this subject.
Absolutely, they don't.
But you're in government and you understand the subject.
I'm an individual.
At least for you are there.
I'm exposed. That's the right word. I've been exposed and I search for knowledge. So we have not...
But you are selfish with your knowledge. You keep it to yourself. You don't give your friends in government to act.
You know, for government to act, it's a very, very bureaucratic organization. Even if when you give it to them, it takes long for them to understand. Because this is a matter of policy. So if you are going to raise it up, you have been in counterfeit products, you have been my friend, I've been...
For a long time. We did an operation in oil lubricants.
Exactly.
When you are the minister, you came and saw...
Exactly. So we rounded them.
So you were in the president's office at that time. Did you advise president and cabinet?
You remember we exposed it, it was media, there is what? But you know the net under which they operate, these guys operate underground. So even getting them like within the government would be having something like a department or a desk at least to track the counterfeit.
Some of these counterfeiters have godfathers in government or in politics. Is that probably the reason why it's not easy to deal with them?
It's the mafia trade. And they operate underground. And it is a very highly lucrative because they make abnormal profits because of counterfeiting. You can imagine if you are counterfeiting drugs, if you are counterfeiting
food,
cosmetics, clothes, cosmetics, you know.
You are spare parts. We have accidents every day.
Of course, tires. So the kind of money they make is very lucrative. It's a lucrative business and it is underground. So I think what we should do, I think the government needs to, the awareness.
Right now you're speaking on behalf of government.
The awareness, and I don't think that we have a law on this counter. We could be having, but...
Enforcement of the law is the
issue.
Enforcement
of the law. But we have a law.
We have the trademark law.
What is...
The law gives... Many people say the punishment is not enough, 5 years, 3 years. But how many people has government locked up even
but you see, if you are going to have that kind of law, how is tracking mechanisms? When the body, Uganda National Bureau of Standards, which is dealing with that kind of those...
But UNBS will say it is dealing with standards.
Exactly.
But you have customs, for example. It has a duty to stop fake products from coming into the country. Are you also saying...
Is it their mandate? No.
They have a mandate to stop what they call prohibited goods. Prohibited goods includes
okay,
counterfeit.
Fine. If you're
But instead they are collecting taxes on the fakes.
prohibited good, I'm not sure.
That is the position. But they are
Not sure.
collecting counterfeit on these fake products, because when the counterfeit is imported, it pays taxes and
You
comes
see,
on the market.
prohibited goods, I think they're looking at, is it harmful? Does it meet the standards?
Prohibited includes counterfeit, and counterfeits are harmful. So do you think the government needs to put some more effort
I
there?
think what we are talking about needs to be better defined.
Let us
and
define
the,
counterfeits.
and the reason why even it's not being implemented, it's not being the enforcement, is because the definition of counterfeit products is not clear. The definition of those prohibited products could be looking at the harmful, whether the product is harmful, whether the product is dangerous. Then
There's
they're
also
looking
the
at it.
element of a product infringing on your intellectual property, like your trademark. If today you have Banyenzaki water, and
I think
somebody fakes
that one, when you look at it, they say, is there any complainant? So they wait until they make it a court matter. So if you are talking about trademark, URA is not going to turn this suit of mine,
To
look
see
at the rebel, look
the
at
plan.
how would it know? For it is revenue correction.
It can ask
That is not the-
Registration Service Bureau, another government department.
The government, which government
URSB.
department of URSB is looking, does this product meet the minimum standards? If this cloth is coming, if there is an importation of A, B, C, D, do they meet the standards? If it is about drugs, there is UNB, there is Uganda Drugs
National Drug Authority.
National Drugs Authority. Okay, so is this drug registered? Is it licensed? So as long
You
as
can also
licensed,
get counterfeits to be licensed. So many of them are licensed.
absolutely,
So even the licensing sometimes it has.
absolutely.
So from what you're saying, Honorable, it seems that a lot of responsibility on fighting counterfeits sits with the government. Are you saying me as a consumer, I should just walk around and buy anyhow?
I think that would be a big burden to government to say that the issue of fighting counterfeits, especially because some of the counterfeits we are talking about, I have seen it in clothes. You are asking me, I'm putting on a nice suit. I've seen it in clothes. So why would government be concerned to look at the label? If let's say dash, a suit of dash. Why would government say, look at the label and say, is this dash coming from the real manufacturer, the real designer? The government will be looking at revenue from that dash suit. Whether it is the dash, or watch, let's say a watch. If you bring in watch and you say it's Rolex, it will want taxes, revenue from that Rolex watch that you're importing in. Does it meet? Is it okay?
So government.
So what should be done, I think, if at all maybe the government should be, the definition of the counterfeit product is very important, and the policy.
A proper one.
Yes.
A big debate
Yes.
exists
Yes.
between.
So that if you are going to bring, if it is taxes on say Rolex, a Rolex buys 100 million shillings, then the tax should be on 100 million. If a Rolex watch is 100 million shillings, which is the price anyway, so you put a price of Rolex watch at 100
The
million.
value, the import value.
Yes. But if somebody brings a Rolex watch and say that it is 50,000 shillings, automatically that is a counterfeit.
But you still
But-
collect the tax.
The,
That's what.
let the tax be on the correct value of that product.
In that way, you
So
will
if you
stop the fake.
then it becomes prohibitive. You get? It becomes prohibitive. If you do and pay that prohibitive tax, then you are.
Honorable, we need to take a break. You are
So
saying
that is a very serious subject
serious
matter.
issue, which we
Yes.
can continue in our
Yes.
conversation.
Because at the end of the day, you can even have the real ones, a real Rolex of 100 million, but you are paying taxes on a Rolex of 50,000 shillings. So you make the government lose revenue.
We need to take a break. We are having a conversation with Honorable Henry Banyenzaki. We're discussing the subject of counterfeits. We're back with the second segment of our League of the Genuine conversation. We are here with the Honorable Henry Banyenzaki. Honorable, we broke off at a point when you are saying that government needs to collect taxes on the genuine product, and then, you know, on the fake ones, it should have a value. But there is a big debate, Honorable, about the push by governments in this part of the world to collect revenue, public revenue, at the expense of public health. We have just lost Honorable Jacob Olanya, the Speaker of Parliament. Like him, in the past 10 years, we've lost so many politicians. Many of them, we think, on this platform, we think that a lot of sickness and disease and death is actually being caused by fakes and public health issues. So, don't you think that by emphasizing tax collection, we are ignoring the issue of fakes, because we are only allowing the things to come in and therefore affecting our public health? The money we collect in taxes, we spend to take politicians to be healed in hospitals abroad.
I think those are two different things. Revenue collection, because, you know, there are no taxes on drugs. I think, at least I know that. But of course, counterfeit.
But you can take counterfeit milk and you fall sick.
All right.
When you
Yes,
fall
that's
sick, the
true.
government takes you on a plane and treats you. And we are saying government is interested in collecting taxes, and whatever it collects, it takes the politicians abroad for treatment. So it's counterproductive.
I think
Why
the
don't you stop?
counterproductive of this is when you bring in drugs which do not have what they call efficacy, which whereby, you know, you have drugs for malaria, but they actually do not treat malaria. They are weak. It's a counterfeit drug.
Fake anti-malarials kill 500,000 Africans every year.
How many?
500,000, more than 500,000.
500,000 people.
Yes, every year.
Because of fake
Anti-malarials or fake HIV
and
or
then
fake cancer.
Exactly.
What I'm talking about is when you allow, as government, the counterfeit to come on the market. For example, you are a cattle farmer. You allow fake acaricides.
Yes.
When the cattle gets the ticks, you spray it with a fake thing. The fake acaricide goes into the meat, goes into the milk.
Yes.
You take the milk, you fall sick. People
That's
are getting
true.
cancer. So I'm saying probably the first point of stopping the disease and the public expenditure on trips abroad, stop these fakes, the fake agrochemicals, the fake cosmetics, stop them from coming into the population so that you save the money.
Yeah, you are right, of course. As you had said, that is the question of what we have been talking about, differentiation.
Yes.
To the extent that at the entry point, there is a problem of differentiation. Our customs people cannot differentiate between the genuine and the fake. And that's why I was saying that there should be a government project or a government proactive measures to know the counterfeit and non-counterfeit, so that these counterfeits are not allowed. So that if you are going even to have to the, because even when you are going to bring in these counterfeits, they are just not allowed at the point of entry.
So are you saying that therefore the government policy of tax collection first and then counterfeit later should not be encouraged. First check if it's genuine, you collect tax.
Yes.
If it is not, don't collect.
You don't allow it in. That's why, for example, we have the vehicle inspection done from the place of origin. You know, I think you know that. So the vehicle inspection is done on the place of origin, so that you don't even allow it in the country. Because when you allow it in the country at the point of entry, you will have a problem of disposal. If you are going to allow drugs and they enter in the country, how will you dispose it off? It's very difficult.
One of the challenges we face in fighting counterfeits is affordability. Our people are poor, and now for you politicians, because you want to please the voters, the majority of whom are poor, you say that you want them to access services.
No, that is...
and you are causing a problem.
You can't talk about affordability and then you are having fake oils, fake petroleum products, fake petrol, fake diesel, fake oils. Fake phones.
But that is the reality.
You are going to lose a lot of money because of the vehicle maintenance. Your population is going to lose a lot of money, okay? Because you are buying fake diesel, you are using fake petrol, you are using fake oil. You talk about affordability of drugs, then you are going to lose lives. You are going to have to spend more money to treat those people who have been on fake. So the affordability question you are talking about does not arise here. You allow fake food products because they are affordable, then you are allowing your country to be a dumping ground.
But that is what
in the question of affordability
have done. You have been in Parliament for 15 years.
Those are
you're Secretary General for the Parliamentary Forum on SDGs.
That is a misguided...
you know that you have pressure.
That is a misguided radar.
Pressure from voters. You have pressure. They ask you
we are
for
there
money,
to protect voters.
Barrio, school fees. You have those pressures.
Actually, what you'll be talking about this kind of pressure, because as a politician, that's not your job. As a member of parliament, your job is to put policies.
You never give money to...
and the legal framework.
You never give money for transport and school fees and barrio for your constituency.
You know, that is not the job of a member of parliament.
For you,
a job of parliament is oversight, making policies and laws and appropriation. That is the major works. But to talk about, like, say, affordability, that you allow your country to dump fake products, you are killing your population. You allow fake drugs, you allow fake food products, you allow fake
soap, fake cooking oil.
Yes.
But Honorable,
these now ladies are using these lightening products which are fake.
Cosmetics.
Causing skin cancer, causing a lot of problems. Then if you have this skin cancer, then you are having a lot of, you'll be spending a lot of public resources
on
treatment of those cancers. You know, if you are allowing fake food, you are going to have, you know.
But Honorable, the political campaigns in this country and in the rest of Africa, these counterfeits are flourishing. You people...
maybe they are not aware.
They give salt,
awareness,
they give sugar.
Awareness.
Who is not aware, the voters or the politician?
Both. By the time you are having a political high-end class not aware, what about the citizens, the lower class of the citizens? Because for them, they don't know. They are looking at affordability, what they can afford, but they don't know what they can afford. They are actually taking on poison.
And killing themselves.
Absolutely.
We are always going to India for treatment.
For your own information, even these fake and these counterfeit products kill the local market. If you are going, for example, to allow fake clothing, you kill your market. You are flooding
you kill the garment industry.
Yes, yeah, exactly. For example, the garment industry. We have our cotton, the best cotton. If you take an example of, let's say, ladies, yeah, what pads? If you are going
sanitary pads.
Sanitary pads. If ladies are going to use sanitary pads, they are going to have those diseases that affect them.
Fibroids and
reproductive
health diseases. And
exactly. So that is the issue. The problem is bigger. So there should be awareness.
Let's just talk a bit about sanitary pads.
Yes.
You are in government. Government came up with a project to give girl child a sanitary pad. Was the issue of quality?
How?
Weren't they giving fake? How do you know those were not fake sanitary pads? There was a project.
Talk of the most recent. These masks. Everybody was producing masks. We don't know where the masks were being imported. What? Talk about that.
So
at the end of the day, some years down the road, we are going to be paying a price
with
for using
another round of disease.
Yes, respiratory problems. Because you have exposed your citizens to use fake masks. They have been breathing in things. Yeah? So talk about that. Of course, the pads have done it, but people don't know.
Because
I can tell you, the fake pads that
we have a lot of fake pads on this market.
Exactly.
Maybe even half 50% are
and
fake.
They have affected ladies. They have reproductive health issues.
Forget even ladies, schoolgirls.
Exactly.
Because the project was taking.
Exactly. So the problem is big.
Yeah, but if the problem is big and we have a big government, so who should be solving this problem? Because I asked that question. We have a problem. Government is there to solve problems.
We need to scale up. We need to scale up this problem higher. We need to reach out to the policy makers, so that it becomes a policy issue. Reach out advocates in this matter. Let this kind of advocacy not stop into your studios. Okay, let's scale out. How many people are going to see this program? Very few.
When you're a minister in the president's office, economic monitoring, you are a guest at the launch of a song, Yoga Yoga Uganda, to celebrate 50 years.
Yes.
And you said something very fantastic there. You said, you advise Ugandans that if you want to celebrate the next 50 years, you need to live a healthy lifestyle.
Right.
And you are right there in the president's office, meaning that you are conscious about the things that need to keep us healthy. Absolutely. And you know counterfeits don't keep us healthy. So,
right.
So me, I don't agree that that this thing was not scaled down.
My brother, government is a very bureaucratic organization. I could be an individual and very having the awareness, but the awareness and to make a policy is much more beyond an individual. You can drive it. You can imagine how many things you can bring now this problem and say that now that, especially in our third world countries, then they say, this is not our problem. Our problem is poverty. Our problem is diseases. Our problem is the...
It's now counterfeits also is our problem.
No, but then we need to scale it up and disintegrate this, explain the
and unpack it to
and
the lowest.
Unpack it for the policymakers to understand that this counterfeit product even affects health. So we have not unpacked the problem of counterfeit product.
But we unpacked when government came up with a plan to make us a middle income status country. I don't know by which year. How are you going to do that with counterfeits?
When you look making a country middle income status, that is the aspiration. That's a bigger picture. We have not unpacked how do you become a middle income. For example, yes, you are talking about how do you become a middle income. You are talking about agro-processing.
Value addition.
You are talking about value addition, import substitution. And when you are talking about import substitution, at least then you are thinking about counterfeit. But remember, even locally, you can have counterfeit within the local industry.
Yeah, it's being made locally. Yeah.
Yes. Whereby you are having, I don't know, I said we have a problem. We need to define the counterfeit product, where we are having this illicit alcohol. So if you are going to have illicit alcohol, call it counterfeit alcohol, especially in spirits, it's killing people. It's people's health.
Some are becoming blind.
Yeah, exactly. Very many. So if you are going to have this kind of foods which have, like, for example, you have, like, for example, packed food. But if you are going to have packed food, people using labels of the other people's products.
Picking other people's containers and labels.
Exactly.
And putting in a product.
We are
but
seeing,
there are also these products.
We are seeing this where you are having people who are now making wine. They pick used bottles of these wines, and then they pack in their wines, and then they put labels of those kind of big wines. And then at the end of the day, you are going to have food poisoning, you are going to have toxicity.
Toxins.
So it is, yes.
So we need to detox all the time.
So you need to intoxicate the system, because the whole system is intoxicated with those counterfeit products we are talking
Honorable,
about.
we are going to take a break. Time is up. We're going to come for the third segment, final segment on this conversation with Honorable Henry Banyenzaki. This is the third and last segment of our conversation on the League of the Genuine with Honorable Banyenzaki. Honorable, because you're mostly known as a politician, most ordinary people here in Africa have a certain perception about politicians. They think politicians are liars. I know they also think lawyers are liars, but mainly politicians. And so, because of this reputation, some people don't have hope that this problem we are in of counterfeits can be cured using politicians, because probably they are the ones who have created the problem. How do you answer to that?
Man, you can't run away from politicians. Because the politicians that you are talking about, they are the ones to make the policies. And that perception, of course, when the perception comes out.
Are you liars?
When they are campaigning, they promise heaven on earth. So when they are campaigning, they promise heaven on earth, and they portray themselves larger than what they are. So that is where that kind of liars come from. And of course, I wouldn't want to say that politicians are liars. Because at the time when you are in politics and you are promising heaven on earth, the moment you join parliament, then you become a serious person. So we need these politicians, we need parliamentarians to make appropriate policies and legal framework, stop these counterfeit products, and to reap from the right products that we should be taking.
You said, Honorable, that when you finish the campaigns, you can tell a lie or two, but when you reach the house, you become serious.
You become a statesman.
A statesman, a policymaker.
Right.
But here in Africa, most politicians are just dancing all over the place. I don't know if you've seen any politician from another part of the world dancing. Politicians here are always dancing. You are dancing, and yet you have the biggest socio-economic. They are dancing at rallies, and you will always see. Why do you dance when your people have abject poverty?
There's nothing wrong with dancing, my friend.
Dancing is a celebration.
Yeah.
What are you celebrating? Counterfeits?
No. It's not a question if they are on campaigns and what.
Instead of dancing, why don't you actually do the work?
Happiness is also very important in some.
You are happy about counterfeits?
No.
So why are you dancing?
You know, I don't think that that's a correct description of our politicians. Have you seen them dancing when they're in a parliamentary session? Have you seen the
here in
ministers
Uganda,
dancing
they
in
were
the cabinet?
exchanging blows.
Yeah, world over they do. Go to Italy, they disagree. But of course there is a mature way of settling.
A civil way of.
Yeah, even in Kenya, just our neighbors here. But of course there is a civil way of debating. That is nothing to be proud of.
So I'm talking about the dancing in an environment where your people are choking on
I think
these fakes.
The point you are making is that our current breed, or our breed of politicians in Africa, or specifically in our country, do not measure up to their tasks. That's the point you are making. And that could be true because they are a reflection of the society where they come from. And if you are
they come from us.
Yeah, they come from us. They come from the people. If they are coming from people who are talking about affordability, who cannot differentiate, who are compliant with substandard things, and
So what you're saying is that with the voters, the electorate, we get the leaders we deserve.
You get the leaders you deserve.
So that's the
So we need to have civic education of the people so that the people elect the people who measure up to the tasks. And of course with the commercialization of politics. If we are having this commercialization of politics, you can as well extend your term to having counterfeit politicians, counterfeit policymakers.
So we actually have counterfeits in politics.
Yeah, but for purposes of this debate, let's not extend it to that because we shall lose the point. But in the real sense, we have a local word called chiwan. Chiwan. Fake. You know that song?
Yes.
So chiwan, you have fake. You have fake everything. So you have fake products on the market. You could be having fake.
Okay, let's talk about fake policies. For example, Parliament appropriates money in the national budget.
A policy can't be fake.
A policy can't be fake.
No. Because the fake is a well thought through legal kind of framework or policy framework and thought through by the technical people. By the time something becomes a policy, it has gone through all the measures. So the problem is implementation.
The implementation is fake,
yes,
but the policy is good.
Yeah. Because if in Uganda here we have the best, we're a country with best policies, best plans.
But execution.
Exactly. Execution, poor. Implementation, poor. Okay?
So for example, Parliament sits and approves a national budget.
Right.
And says that so much money is going to go into public infrastructure development.
Right.
And when it comes to the procurement of the suppliers for that public procurement, the money is just thrown.
Actually, you have brought it in a good way. We don't pay for value of money. Let's say infrastructure. That's why you are going to pay, you find that you are paying a high price, a high premium prices for, say, iron bars. But they are using fake iron bars to build bridges and they collapse. You are paying, even when it goes to the market, you pay for a premium iron bars to build these high-rising buildings. And that's why we are having collapsing buildings, because the iron bars that were put there was substandard. Cement was substandard. So if we are going to have, even in the infrastructure, you use wrong iron bars, steel bars, you are going to have the bridge collapsing. You
downgrade the specification.
Yeah, of course. So you even kill the market. I think we had this problem when the construction of one of the biggest dam, Banyenzaki.
Yes.
The contractors
even Karuma was cracking.
Exactly. Now even the contractors were importing everything from outside of Uganda because they said that our iron bars are of substandard. So you can imagine how the local content, how the local industries lost the revenue. And whatever was being imported was tax-free, was duty-free.
So we lost, we
You
lost
lose
tax
revenue, you
we
lose
lost
building-
jobs.
you lose
that made
jobs,
those
you
products.
lose building the local capacity. Yeah, if you are going to have fake, these roads being built using fake products, at the end of the day, the road that is supposed to take 10 years takes 1 year. You have seen this happen. So the road is enormous.
No, it's enormous. I was in the US in one of those cities, and my cab driver took me around, and he had been in that city, in Dallas actually,
Yes.
since the 70s. And he told me this road was built the year I came and has never been repaired. And I was like,
And-
it is 40 years.
And remember, most of our roads are being constructed on runs. So you get a run which is effective for 20 years, which matures in 20 years.
But when the rain season comes, you
No,
have
but
to
when
repair.
every 5 years, the road is gone. So you borrow more money to make another road.
So
for 20 years again.
Whose fault is that? This is what I'm saying now.
The fault is for our supervisors.
If it is a project, the
fault
project
now-
is the government of Uganda project.
Yes.
They are project
It is a
management
cartel, brother.
principles. But they are project management principles. There is monitoring and evaluation, for example.
You have heard about corruption. And actually, the reason why this counterfeit war, fighting this counterfeit war, is just because of corruption. A corrupt system. The system has been corrupted. And if you are going to have supervisors who are corrupted and they want to make a difference,
And the contractor is
at the end of
corrupt.
the day, they allow in any garbage. So the corruption element in fighting this war of counterfeits, that's why enforcement becomes very difficult.
So are you saying that the fight against counterfeits is a fight against corruption?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So do you say that?
You have corrupted the system.
Do you agree, therefore, that a counterfeiter should also be taken to the anti-corruption court, actually, when they are arrested?
That's why I was telling you that we need to widen the definition of counterfeit products and the mechanism under which those counterfeit are coming in. If you are going to allow those counterfeit products within the
So that
country-
if you are faking this water,
Yes.
it's not just a simple trademark issue, it's a case for corruption.
Yes, yes. Who allowed it? Why did you allow it? Why did you flout the
Procedures,
procedures?
And the law.
That is
Because corruption
that
cases,
is negligence and
corruption
abuse of
cases
office. You get?
carry big sentences.
Yes, yes.
And big
That
fines.
is negligence on duty. That is abuse of office. That is absolutely.
That is even causing financial loss to
exactly,
government,
exactly,
tax revenue, and all these
exactly.
things.
And all those definition comes in. So since you're a lawyer, that's a good.
But I'm not government.
good food
I
for
don't make
thought.
the laws. But since you are in
No, no,
government,
no, no. A policy can be initiated by even citizen. A citizen can
a
initiate a
private
policy.
member's bill or something.
That is a law. But even a policy, good policies emanate from the people. They don't come from the technical people. It comes from the people. The bottom up.
But okay,
Bottom
now
up policies are
if
the
we
best
are
policies that
looking
you can
at
have.
counterfeits in form of corruption, don't you think we also need
We need to widen it and look at the counterfeit as
yes
one of the
yes,
corrupt.
but instead of being a fight of we against them, because even those who are corrupt are consumers. So if you are corrupt,
How could consumers be corrupt in this?
no,
sense?
I'm saying, if you are corrupt and you take money for making a road and you put fake, when you make this money, because you are a consumer, you have to buy tomatoes, you have to buy medicine, you want genuine cosmetics, you cannot get the
Man,
money.
No. Those who get that kind of
Where
money,
do they take? Where do
those
they
who
buy?
get that kind of money, they don't buy that. They know.
Where do they buy their milk? Where do they buy their
No.
tomatoes?
They buy quality products because they have the money.
But they can't.
And they know that these things are
they can't.
are fake.
They can't differentiate, honorable.
No.
We've had cases where fake products are sold in the big supermarkets. Also, these corrupt
Those
people,
those guys that we are talking about are highly loaded. They know the difference.
they are highly loaded.
When they go to the pharmacy, he will ask, "I want a drug from Germany."
But it can also be faked
Yeah, it can be faked, but they have mechanism of knowing.
because there is
They are more exposed.
They are more exposed. So the chance
Yes,
of consuming
They are more
fake
exposed. So
is-
their chances of consuming fake is less.
But
when
for
they are going to
example,
look for food, they
which air do they breathe? If the air is affected by emissions
At
coming
least-
from fake fuel, okay, and all these respiratory issues we are getting, they will also inhale the same thing and fall sick. So
Well,
my argument is this.
to some extent, they are affected by periphery.
Okay, so my argument
It's a
is this.
periphery.
It's a peripheral issue, that's what you're
Yes,
saying.
for them they feel it on peripheral issues.
My argument is that counterfeits affect the rich and poor.
Yes, they do, but
Okay.
it affects the poor most.
Yes. But because it's a common problem
Yes.
that affects all of us, it's like if a war broke up here. You cannot say because I'm rich.
You see, my
the
brother, what
nuke
we are
will not
talking
hit me.
about, those corrupt people don't think in that town, in those, the way you are looking at it.
They think for
They
themselves.
think for themselves. They are selfish, and that's why they do primitive accumulation of capital. So they think for themselves. He delivers a fake road. He forgets that he's going to ride on that
His
road.
relative will pass there, then
Yeah,
he goes
yeah,
for
yeah,
burial. Even he
Yeah,
himself
yeah.
can die on
He
that
allows
road.
importation of fake drugs. He forgets that at one time, his child, his son, his relative is going to access those.
Or
kinds
his
of-
worker who
Oh,
makes for him money in his
Forget even
will
about
fall
the
sick.
worker, his immediate person. Even him, he forgets that at one time he's going to be in a coma, and then fake drugs will be infused into his body. So that is called ignorance.
Because you know why counterfeits?
Ignorance at the highest order.
You know there is a report I saw
So
in the European Union during
Yes.
COVID. Most of them were buying online. A report said that 40% of the electronics which were sold online were fake, even to the Europeans. So meaning that counterfeiting is not just a poor man's problem.
No.
It affects
But
the
it affects the poor most.
So our argument is this: why don't we unite, whether you're corrupt or not corrupt, poor or rich? Why don't we unite and look at counterfeits as a humanity problem? It's a common problem.
That's where we need to cooperate. That's where we need to sensitize the masses and cooperate. Cooperation of the poor and the rich and the what, especially those privileged class, to begin to know that this is a problem. But as of now, I am very sure that they have not realized that this is
It
a
affects
problem.
them.
They are the ranchers, remember? They are the one, for example, who have ranches. So when you have these counterfeit products of these
For them, they fly in their drugs.
they
for
don't
them.
even fry in. Where do you fry in? They are buying in the same market.
And then their cows
And
also.
if you are going to be blacklisted by European market, by the big markets, where will you sell your milk products? Where will you sell your beef? If it is crops, where will you sell? If you are doing commercial farming, where will you sell? At the end of the day, it will affect
So in
you
summary,
another.
honorable, ignorance is the one that is promoting
Absolutely.
counterfeits.
Absolutely. Ignorance, selfishness is breeding.
Greed.
that. Greed.
Profit.
Exactly. Greed for profit.
And
They are
even
the importers.
and negligence even. On our
Of
part.
course, the negligence by the implementers. Yeah. So it is a complex issue that needs to be unpacked so that we deal with this matter in a complex
Your
way.
message to
And
the
it's actually a
viewers.
global issue.
It's a global issue. Your message from the viewers.
Yeah,
from
the viewers should be very conscious to see what they are buying, because if they go and talk about affordability and you end up buying a cheap product because it is cheap, it will affect your health. But again, they need to know that out of those kind of cheap products and affordable products, there is an concealed danger, and they're exposing themselves to all vagaries that will affect their life. And no wonder that's why we find that in our countries, for example, the life expectancy is not as high as the developed countries. So there should be consumer protection in the government. This is an advice to policymakers, consumer protection. We must have bodies that deal with this problem, which is so complex, and we must protect our citizens.
And as somebody of the African Parliamentary Forum, to Africans in general,
yes,
we are not confident of ourselves. We undermine ourselves. We hate each other. We are fake generally. What do you tell us?
It's not that we are fake Africans. Africans
we are fake by not loving ourselves.
No, I think
not liking our
the
skin
Pan-Africanism spirit is not. Those are just, that's ignorance. And you find that those who would say you are talking about the Africans, they don't like their skin color, are some of the people who are very ignorant, and maybe they even have the money. They're not even protecting our people. That is ignorance of the highest order. That is denial, self-denial.
Identity crisis.
Identity crisis. So I think it is very important that we educate our people, we sensitize our people to know this problem, we sensitize the policy makers so that the bar is, we raise the bar so that we tackle this problem holistically and stop this kind of illicit trade, because even at the end of the day, the government loses revenue.
Thank you, Honorable. That has been Honorable Henry Banyenzaki, former Minister of Economic Monitoring in the President's Office, parliamentarian for more than 15 years, President Secretary General African Parliamentary Forum. He ends by saying, let's raise the bar, meaning we raise the bar and say no to counterfeits, push for genuine. I think that's the only way we shall develop. So until the next episode, we need to sign off by thanking you, as always, for making it a date to be with us every Friday on this important discussion. We also thank you for tuning in, for subscribing, for putting the notifications and sharing this important discussion. So until then, don't be fake, buy and sell genuine always.